when you look at education, you have to think about there are so many different ways to measure education. Right now in the US, if you look only at test scores in mathematics, science, or reading, we seem to rank low compared to countries in other parts of the world. We seem to do so. But education is not only about test scores. Education is about preparing someone who will be a successful citizen in the future, in a society. And that requires, I would call a passion for learning, a creativity, entrepreneurship, a moral, ethical characters, and also social, pro-social behaviors, healthy attitudes. There's much more than that's what's been measured right now. So I think in the U.S., the U.S. ranks pretty high in my mind in terms of its ability to produce students or citizens who can be responsible, who can be creative, who can take the lead in terms of innovation and entrepreneurship, while some other countries like China may be able to produce better test takers, but they sacrifice the spirit of innovation, the spirit to create, and honestly many times to initiatives. Those might be much more important for a person and for society than simply test scores. Well, if I were Mr. Duncan, I would put money to stimulate much more individual innovations on schools. I would broaden the definition of success of schools rather than just hold on to test scores. I would not definitely endorse any national standards or national testing. I would reward schools who come up with diverse set of opportunities. I would ensure there's equal funding for every school, every child. I would try to encourage teachers, not trying to punish them. I would try to encourage schools to be different rather than trying to be the same. And most importantly, we need to instill confidence, restore confidence in our teachers, in our schools. Because right now, the accountability rhetoric, in essence, is telling us we don't trust our educators. I mean, they are not good enough, they're lazy, they're complacent, and if we try hard enough, if we hold them accountable, they'll work harder and they'll solve all the problems. And that's not the case. The society needs a diversity of talents. Therefore, any attempt to try to standardize that is going to reduce the diversity. And the diversity of talents, for example, now if you think a high school student should get math, reading, and science, maybe it's a good idea if it's also in addition to something. But if you only think those three things are important, and then those three things, use those three things as excuse to sacrifice other talents, then that's not worth it. So what I think a high school diploma is, by the time that student finish high school, the student should still be happy, be curious, be passionate about learning, and have great self-confidence, and of course come up with a suite of abilities and knowledge. That person may not be so great in math, but that person could be very well in art, in music, in creating something new and different, in designing something. So there's a lot of other abilities. So what I don't like to see is to consider standards as a way to limit what we think, as valuable talents. Human beings are not like cars. You cannot standardize it. Human beings, you never know, honestly, especially in a society that changes so fast, what ability, what knowledge will be of value. But we can develop that.